Today, we are going to be showing you how to do a curly brush back with a low skin fade. This is going to be the exact same hair cutting system that I used last year to make over $200,000 a year cutting hair. We're going to be getting into this step-by-step guide to show you guys how to absolutely execute this haircut in an efficient time. Let's get into the tutorial. So guys, the first step that we're going to do is we're going to fully saturate our client's hair. I do like to start with the scissor cutting. A lot of people don't think that this is efficient, but it's actually a super efficient way to do this. I like to do the scissor cutting at the beginning of the haircut. That way I'm fading into a finished product. So the first thing that we're gonna do after his hair is fully saturated is we're gonna start to section the hair out. I'd like to start with a horseshoe parting, which is a parting essentially just around his head, coming into like a horseshoe shape where you're separating the sides from the top. So what I do is I just use the recession point, almost like a reference point to start this. I'm gonna take my comb, drag it all the way back, and then you're gonna see I get all of these like comb lines. I'm gonna pick the one that lines up with his recession, just like that. And then I get a really nice comb line. And I could always go with the fine teeth of my comb and just clean it up a little bit. Now we're doing a low fade. The reason why is because this weight, he actually really likes this to curl up. He likes the flow that he has, doing a low skin fade and it blending into the top. So we're gonna set our foundation for our fade. And the cool thing is that us setting the foundation for the fade is actually gonna help us to have some length to connect the top into so that you don't have that overhang, that kind of mushroom look. What I'm gonna be doing is placing my fingers right on the side of his head, but very tight. I'm gonna keep a lot of tension and I'm gonna use the fine teeth of my comb to help me do that. Pull the hair right there and you can see this is all the hair that I'm gonna be cutting. Fingers tight to the head and now I can go and just start cutting. And I am making sure to have a good amount of tension all the way throughout. Now, the reason why I'm putting my fingers very tight to the side of his head is because we're gonna be doing clipper work under this. This is kind of like my base kind of guideline, if that makes sense. Now, my fingers equal up to about a 3 or a 4 guard. So when we start our fade, you're gonna be able to see that first step is gonna be just debulking with a 3 or a 4, and you're gonna see how nice it blends in to what I'm doing now. So now, if I wanna go ahead, connect the top into the sides, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stand behind my client and I'm gonna look and I'm gonna put the comb right in line with his nose and I'm gonna take this all the way to the back of his head and I'm gonna start to separate the hair down the middle. Now this haircut is a brush back, right? So it's gonna be the same length on both sides. It's not gonna be a comb over where one side is longer than the other. And his hair is hanging over that line that I just put in with my scissors. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna find that baseline and I'm gonna connect the top into it. If you can see right here, all these little hairs right here, this is my baseline that I'm gonna connect it into. So you can see I have a little bit of overhang. Now I'm just gonna go, I'm just gonna cut these little hairs here to kill that overhang so that it can all blend in. And then the same thing with the front. Depending on how short he wants the front of the hair on top is going to tell me how I need to connect it in. Now, if you wanted it super long, then I would drag my fingers down towards his nose, but he wants more of a squared shape. So I'm just gonna go and follow my guide throughout just to maintain the length of where he's at. And it's okay, guys. Sometimes you're just gonna be maintaining your work from last time. Like not every time your clients are gonna wanna take a bunch of length off. Sometimes they're gonna like the haircut. You wanna be able to duplicate that result. And that's gonna help you actually retain your clients. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the same thing throughout. As you guys can see, when I comb all this back, you see that all this hair is gonna flow, nothing is gonna hang over, and I still have a really nice foundation for me to start to fade into without having to mess up any of this scissor work. I'm gonna show you guys more shop speed. I'm gonna go ahead and take that first parting, separating the top from the sides. I'm using his recession point as that kind of baseline. And now I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna set in that foundation, fingers tight to the scalp, and start to trim this line in. And guys, using the fine teeth of your comb is gonna help you to get a lot more tension. Why is tension important? Tension is important because it helps you get a way more consistent cut. If you're getting a consistent cut, if you're getting a quicker cut, that's gonna help you be more efficient and just ultimately, you're gonna be producing way better haircuts way faster. You know, I'm not a big fan of rushing haircuts, but I am definitely a big fan of not wasting time and just being more efficient. I'm gonna take that same parting down the middle, comb all this hair down, I'm gonna find that line underneath. You can see it right there. And I'm just gonna go and connect it in. I can just follow that line throughout. And now you can see, if I comb all this hair back, you can see I still have a lot of nice weight. It's still curling up really nicely. You can see that nothing's hanging over. This is how this hair is gonna be styled. And I still have a really nice base for me to go ahead and fade into. So the cool thing about this system is that when I go and I pull the hair up towards the ceiling, that I'm gonna have like a peak. I'm gonna have like a triangle. And that's gonna tell me exactly how much hair I gotta cut. So I'm gonna go pick this hair up right here. And you can see, this is the hair that I connected in and I already cut. And you can see this hair in the middle is longer. The reason why you don't see a big difference or a big peak is because we're not cutting off too much hair. We are just maintaining the haircut. And I'm just taking you guys through the system so you guys know how to. So now, as long as I keep my fingers, just kind of parallel to the floor, like a straight line, I'm gonna be cutting off an even amount of length on both sides. And this is gonna help it to have the weight in the corners, not be super short, and have just more shape to the haircut. See that? This is how wide I would suggest your sections be whenever you guys are going and cutting the top. I would suggest that each section be about a finger's width or an inch wide. You can even think about each section being your comb laid down. This would be one section. This would be another section, Because if you take sections that are way too big, your haircut's gonna be very uneven, and that's not what you want. That's gonna make you have to do so much more cleanup work and ultimately make your haircuts take a lot longer than what they have to. That's a big part of staying efficient, not wasting time having to, clean up work or something just because you didn't do it right the first way. To keep this length right where I want it, sometimes what I'll do is this. In the front, you can see that it's kind of a straight, I guess you can say. The top of the head is almost parallel to the floor, versus it kind of rounds in the front. So since it rounds, it drops a little bit. So what I want to do is take vertical sections just so I can make sure that I'm maintaining enough length. So what I'll do is I'll pull this up. I'm going to follow my guide from the back. And I'm going to go and cut this. And this just helps me to keep that length in the front and not have it too short. And for me, it's a little bit easier to do whenever I stand to the side and, take these vertical sections. Now, this is one of the parts about the haircutting system that you're gonna really get to see how efficient this is and why you might wanna add this to your arsenal, is that after doing the scissor work, you get to see how easy it is to start transitioning into your clipper work. So you can see here, I have that weight line, right, that I first put in with my scissors at the beginning of the haircut. Now you're gonna see how easy it is to start bringing my clippers into that. So right here, you can see I have a 4 guard, and I'm gonna go and just bring this straight into that. I'm trying to just go and blend into it. And now, after doing that, you guys can see that I have a good, fresh panel to fade into, and I still have flow that'll comb back. And when it's combed back in the style that he's actually gonna wear it in, that it all blends in. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my Babless FX1 clipper, and I'm gonna open up the lever all the way, and I'm gonna create my first panel. And I'm gonna go and create another section with my 1 guard all the way open. Now I'm gonna go and start debulking a little bit more of this top panel with my 3. And guys, a huge part of this that you guys really wanna understand, a lot of barbers will mess up on this, is they actually won't bring their clipper up high enough. Sometimes you'll get focused so much on these top teeth, you won't actually focus on the teeth that are actually cutting hair. So you wanna make sure that you're bringing your clippers up high enough when you're fading, and that you're focusing on the metal teeth that are actually cutting hair. Plastic teeth don't really matter. And now you can go and drop down to your 2 guard. I'm gonna be setting in my first skin line with my clipper closed, and the reason why is that it's gonna help me have a way softer guideline to fade out later. Now that I have my first skin line, I'm gonna go with my trimmers and debulk all the hair under it. And I'm gonna be using my FX1 Babless shaver, And I'm gonna start taking all of this down. I'm not gonna go all the way up to the line because I still wanna keep that transition. I don't want that hard skin line that I won't be able to take out later. Now when it comes to fading out this line, I start with the clipper closed and I just slowly notch the clipper up until I'm all the way halfway open and that first panel is faded out. So you can see I'm gonna start all the way closed, go up halfway, one notch up, second notch up, and you can see that it's all the way faded out. Now I'm going with my half guard, halfway open, and I'm blending out this next line. But guys, if you guys can invest in some good tools, like you won't have to spend all day cutting hair because they're really gonna cut. They're gonna cut smooth, they're gonna cut sharp. And then right here, it's really just lever play. So if you ever hear an educator talking about like lever play, essentially what they're saying is you might make small adjustments and change up your lever a little bit depending on what you need to do. If you need to cut hair that's a little bit higher in the panel, you might start with the lever more open. And then if it doesn't cut, you might drop it down a little bit. Lever play is just essentially changing up your lever a little bit to get that look that you want, to get that blend that you want. Now my last step is a half guard, halfway open, and I'm taking out this last line. When you're doing more of a compressed fade, you wanna keep, your clipper strokes a lot shorter. If I go up too high, I'll push the fade up. So I'm using a lot of corners, but I'm also doing, shorter passes with my clippers. Now what we can do is actually get into the lineups. And I'm gonna show you guys how to line up a C-cup, super easy. I'm gonna comb all the excess hair away and see where the hair is like naturally growing so I don't really push it back and go crazy and line them up like all the way back here. It's not gonna grow back good. That's not what you guys wanna do. I'm gonna just start using reference points. So what I'm gonna do, you can see there's a great spot right there to start his lineup. I'm gonna start and do that first point. And then I'm gonna go and line up the bottom, just a little piece at the bottom. Now it gives me a really clear guide on where to line up the rest. Use the corner and just connect those 2 points. As I comb all this back, you guys can see I got a nice low fade. I got all of this flow. I got really good shape here. I got nice weight that's not too heavy. It still blends back. I got all this length here at the top, guys. Now on this side, I'm gonna be going more shop speed to show you guys in real time what this will look like, if I wasn't explaining it on a video for you guys. So I'm gonna start with my foreguard, and I'm just going right in, just blending straight into it, that foundation that I set at the beginning. I'll usually do about 3 to 4 passes before I move on to the next step. Drop the guard, open lever. One guard all the way open.
How long does it take to build that barber eye?
When it comes to building up that barber eye, something that you have to realize is that the barber eye is never gonna get done building. It's just as your experience grows, your barber eye develops and you start to see stuff that you really didn't see before. Like, even more experienced barber might see this haircut and see a million things that I could work on, but I might only see 5. Your barber eye never really finishes developing. The only day that it really finishes developing is the day you stop trying to get better. Use my 3 guard right under my 4. And guys, it might look like I'm bringing up my clipper the same amount, but what I'm doing is I'm looking at the metal cutting teeth and I'm focusing on bringing those close to where I brought them before. That's why you really gotta focus when you're doing these haircuts, guys. Now I'm gonna take that 2, and I'm still softening up that line right there. Now I can go and set in my skin line with my clippers. Just a little bit. And I can go and debulk. Bring out my shaver. Now I'm getting close to this skin line, but something that's super important is that as I get closer to the skin line, I'm lightening up on my pressure. And think about it like this, guys, you don't have to fade out a line that you don't create in the first place. Now that doesn't mean you can't use guidelines, that just means be aware of the ones that you are creating. Guidelines are not bad. Sometimes, certain people try to shame you out of using a guideline, and guidelines help to keep me efficient. They help to keep the haircuts looking consistent every single haircut. Versus some haircuts you do good, some haircuts don't look as good. It's really nice whenever you commit to using the same haircutting system, you get to do really great haircuts, almost like second nature, where you don't really have to think about it. You get to just talk to your clients, you get to enjoy the atmosphere of the barbershop, but you can really only get there after having a bunch of reps. Now my last step before I line up is I'm gonna take my 1.5 guard, halfway open. And with the half guard and the 1.5 guard, that's where I'll use a little bit of lever play, of just changing up the lever a little bit depending on where I am in the fade. And I'll always go in between combing the hair down so I can see how it's falling onto the fade, but also combing the hair back in the way that he's actually gonna style it. That way I get to kind of see the haircut from multiple angles. Create my first reference point right here, create my second reference point right here, and now I can go and just connect the dots. Now we can go, and at the end of the haircut, we can detail the fade, which is super, super, super important. 5 minutes of detailing can absolutely transform your haircut. So for this one, what I'll go is I'll literally just take the camera on my phone and I'll just take a picture of the haircut. And then what I'll do is I'll start going and I'll see any areas of the haircut that I wanna go in detail. For example, you know, it's a little bit too heavy of a weight line right here, or you know, the C cup has a little bit more hair than what I would want it to. Or you can see I got a light spot, and then to the right of it, I got a little bit of a dark spot that's messing up the gradients of my fade. So what I'm gonna be doing is using a little bit of scissor over comb just to lighten it up. So I'm gonna comb this down, just get the ends of the hair. Same thing, even when I go into the fade, I can pick the hair up with the fine teeth of my comb and just start to go just like this and lighten this up. You can see that I was able to lighten up right here. I lightened up that dark spot a little bit and I took off a little bit of hair right here as well.
Have you guys heard yet? Toon 45 actually has a free school community that you can be a part of. What are you gonna get from it? You get access to our YouTube tutorials that are from YouTube. You get the full length of them in our Toon 45 community. All right, you also get the network. You wanna be around iron, right? Iron sharpens iron. You get to be around other barbers that are aspiring to do better and want better, and you can be used in that fashion if you join our community. All right, you get tremendous value. Me and my other 6 coaches are continuously putting useful information out there for you guys to just get free game that can help you get to the next level. And not only that, it gives you a sneak peek of what we offer in our 6-figure barber mentorship program that is only right now, only $120 a month, that gives you access to learn how to build your business, build your brand, and more importantly, set you up to have a more successful 2025 than you did in 2024. All right, looking forward to see you in the community.
I'm gonna be showing you guys how to style some curly hair with the Toon 45 Indestructible Clay. Now the reason why I'm gonna be using this clay is because it's gonna give my clients hair long-lasting hold that's gonna be able to last them the whole day. Also, it's gonna give him a matte finish. It's not gonna look shiny or greasy. It's gonna look like his natural hair, just a little bit better. The first part of this, guys, is just getting it everywhere. You're not really worried about styling it right now. What you are worried about is just getting it into the hair. You wanna get it to the base of his scalp, to the base of the hair, but also to the top of the hair as well. You don't just wanna put it on the top. It's not gonna give it long-lasting hold. Now, if you were in a rush at the barbershop and you could literally just send them out just like this, a little bit of a wet look, it's gonna air dry over the day, but it's styled and looks great. All you would have to do is comb the sides and you're done. But if you want to take it to the next level, you guys can use a diffuser on curly hair and it helps the curls to pop. There's a bunch of curls going on. I'm gonna show you guys a couple things that you can do to just style this up a little bit more. Right here, I'm using the Josh OP styling comb. And I'm just gonna comb the sides back, and I'm not gonna disrupt any of the curls on the top. This is gonna help to where I can show the flow and the connection on the sides while also keeping the curls. This was a step-by-step tutorial teaching you how to do a curly brush back with a low skin fade, and this system is the exact same system that I used to make $200,000 last year cutting hair. So this system works, guys. Now, guys, if you don't know, we have an event coming up. EWP, Education with a Purpose, is coming to Tampa, February the 16th. Tickets are gonna be in the bio. Your favorite educators in the industry are gonna be there, so you don't wanna miss it. And there's special drops that are coming, so you wanna make sure to be there, guys. Now, if you guys want any Toon 45 products, there's gonna be a discount code in the description below, helping you guys to save 10% store-wide. Hope you guys enjoy this haircut tutorial. We're gonna see you guys on the next one. And check the description below for all the links, and like, comment, and subscribe.